Welcome back to another edition of So Easy a Realtor Can Do It. Today I'm going to show you how to change out a pendant light. This is a house I have coming for sale, not on the market yet, so we're just getting some prep. My team is getting it prepped, and I figured this is a great time to show you how to do a few things. So I changed out, as you can see here, I changed out 2 of the lights so far, but we have this last one to do, and I figured let me practice on 2 before I shoot this video. So here we are, I'm going to show you how to do this one. Super simple, honestly, not a lot of tools required. And the biggest concerns everybody has, is electrocuting themselves, but turn off the power and you'll be fine. Okay, so just to prove that these 2 actually do work, I turned on the power here, and we're gonna do this one today. I'm gonna show you how to do that, and I'm just gonna go ahead and show you that this turns them on and off. So I'm actually gonna leave the circuit open, and then first things first is go down to the basement and turn off the breaker. Now, sometimes your breaker box isn't labeled, and you'll have to do some trial and error to see when you get it, but that's why I like to leave the circuit on, because when you got it, the lights will be off. I am super lucky, and in my panel today I only have 2 labels, but guess what? One of them says Peninsula lights. So now I'm sure there's no power, but to be extra safe, I do have a current tester with me. So we'll just take this to one of the live wires to make sure that we have no power running through it, to just be extra safe when it comes to that. The other things you might need are wire strippers, screwdriver, sometimes an adjustable wrench, and sometimes some sort of knife, because you'll need to do some cutting of wire or casing. So I will show you that, because that is actually the case in this case. So the first thing I want to show you is our new light. So I've already unpacked it. You're going to see in here we have the mounting bracket, which we're going to take these little screws off here to take off. Okay, just don't lose those. And then this comes out, and this is what's going to replace what's currently there to screw into the ceiling so that we can actually mount this. You're also going to see here we have our line, and you're going to see we have an L and an N. I'll show you if I can show that. L, N, that would be for live and neutral, and this copper line in here is our grounding line. So you can also see there's a green nut on here. That's always for the grounding line. So we're going to wrap this around the grounding line around this, and then attach it to the grounding line that's in the ceiling to make sure we have a grounded circuit. We also have this little piece here. This is just to secure the wire in place so it doesn't slide through at all. We will be adjusting that because for some reason this light, they decided that it should be, let me see, I am 6 foot, so this is a, 7-foot wire for your vaulted ceilings to have a pendant light hanging way down. I guess that's just in case you have that, so you can highlight your candelabra. So we're gonna have to make an adjustment here. Sometimes you can actually just take this and get this, once you make the adjustment, stuff it into the box, but this is way too much wire, so we're actually gonna have to cut this off. We're actually going to cut this off, strip back some casing, and expose some wires, and that's where the knife and wire strippers are going to come into place. The real fun part about this specific light is that the 2 lines are the same color, so once we cut this off, it's a little hard to figure out which one's which. So we're going to do our best to track that to make sure we're stripping the right one and attaching the right one, but in worst case scenario, we test it before we put the whole thing together, and if it doesn't work, we just know we got it backwards and we'll have to reverse it. But that's pretty much the assembly. So I'm going to go through the process of making this adjustment now and showing you how to do that. So see if I can show this. There's a little plastic nut. Let's see, there we go. Right there, and that is what's holding this wire in place. So I'm going to use a screwdriver, and it's really tiny, and unfortunately I don't have this big flathead, but I can use the corner to get that out. Basically just want to untwist this until we can do it by hand. That might be enough. Yep, there we go. And don't lose this, because it's clear and it's gonna fall. So that goes there, and now this wire, as you're gonna see, slides right through. So what we're gonna do is we're going to measure the length of the wire that we want and mark that. And you can use tape. In this case, I actually have a twist tie because it's a really thick gauge twist tie. And once I twist it on there, this will actually stop this from sliding through any further. And how we measure is we're just gonna literally hold this up to the old one and kind of just show the length, mark it, and then we know exactly kind of where to cut. As long as we have our length enough to cut back some of this casing and then strip the wires, we should have plenty of room to do that. And then the whole thing honestly comes together probably in like 10-15 minutes. Really, really easy. Hence why I'm making this video. All right, I'm gonna adjust the camera so I can show you how I take that measurement, and then we'll come back and we'll start doing cutting. Okay, hopefully you can see this well enough. It's kind of an awkward spot. As you can imagine, I am very safely standing on a ladder and not the counter right now. That's for sure. So here's our base up here, and we're very simply just gonna take our base, pull this through, and just kind of measure exactly where we want this light to hang. Make sure we're getting same length as the other one. So that's looking pretty good right there. So from here, I'm just gonna grab that twist tie, hold this in place on the back, just pinch it right there, and then literally right around here, just take this and do that nice and tight. And now, as you can see, I can hold it and it's not gonna move anywhere. So I've marked my length and I know exactly where to cut in order to prep this. So while I'm up here, I'm actually gonna just take the old one down because I've already measured the length, so I already feel confident that I don't need this one up here anymore. So in order to do that, this one has 2 screws, one on either side. You're only gonna see 1 here today, but very, very simply, I'm just gonna unscrew this, and this is gonna come out. These are short screws, so they will fall very quickly. And as soon as I take the one out, you're gonna see the light drop a little bit. Okay, I'll do the other side. Of course, this one's right against the crown molding, so it's extra fun to get this screw out. Okay, we've exposed our wires. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these down very carefully. Oh, they duct tape, they electrical tape these on. All right, so this is where we're gonna use this, just to confirm that there's no juice. So our black line here is our live wire, and just touch it here, no current. So we're safe to go ahead and handle this without worrying about getting a shock. So yeah, unfortunately, and our grounding line is actually tucked up in here, so I'm gonna pull that out too. There we go. All right, so I have all the lines exposed. And there's a green nut on this mount, as there should be, and it is a flathead, so switch. I'm gonna go ahead and undo the grounding line and detach. Oh, it's fully on there. Detach our grounding line, undo the wire nuts. And unfortunately, this one has some electrical tape on it, so I have to actually peel all this tape off in order to get this off. Electrical tape is off. Honestly, completely unnecessary. Take off the wire caps, the wire nuts, and these are all just twisted on. So we can untwist the grounding line, and these just usually slide off. There you go. So, old fixture. Finally, that's our line we're gonna use to reattach. We're just gonna take out the old mount now. It's fun, they have wood screws in here to hold this. That's right. Okay, old mount is off. Now, while we're up here, we can put our new mount on. And you can see this one we're gonna literally go through this and this side in order to put it on. And these are the new pieces that it came with. And hopefully these screws are going to fit just fine. I would say always keep the old screws just in case, but this should be fine. And then our screw is just gonna go through this way, and then this is how it mounts up. So it's gonna look like this. And in the blue box here, there's just 2 holes. I mean, it's very simple to follow, and you're just gonna screw it right back in. So let's now see if that's going to line up. And you don't want to over tighten this, because if you over tighten it, sometimes the mount can actually start to bend. And then when you go to put your fixture on, your screws are actually pointing like this and it's impossible to get on. And these mounts are thin, so they will bend. And I can actually see that this one bent a little bit, but I'm gonna make that adjustment. It should be easy enough as I put the other screw in. I won't need to do a tricep workout for a little bit, that's for sure. Okay, and while I'm up here, I'm also just gonna loosen the grounding line so that we can wrap our grounding line around there. Okay, so this is all prepped. So we just need to prep the fixture and we'll be good to go. Okay, so we're ready to prep our fixture. Now you need to leave enough line here that when we cut it off to also have enough room to strip some wire, attach it, and you want some give, because if it's super tight, what happens is you go to tuck it up and these lines keep pulling out of the wire nuts, and you'll have it all back together and the light won't turn on, and it's just really annoying. So you do want some extra slack. So I'm gonna leave extra because I learned this on the second light that I put in that happens really easily on these. So right here, take your wire cutters, and at the bottom you can see the blade, and these are for stripping. And I'm actually just gonna, ready? Don't be afraid. It's all part of the process. Now, this part is where you need a knife. Now you can't chop right through. Nice sharp knife really helps on this too, I will say. You wanna take enough in order to give yourself that slack I was talking about. It's probably about to right here, and you just wanna press in and press in and just press. And you don't wanna overdo this because you don't wanna cut through the wire, then you'll be in real trouble. There we go. So here's our wires. Here's our wire strippers. The gauge of the wire is on here. If you don't know, just kind of test it. Start on the biggest one, obviously. Don't start on the smallest one so you don't clip it. Obviously the biggest one in this case is gonna be way too big. Next one's too big. And like Goldilocks, third one is just right. You can feel the pinch, but it's not pinching all the way through. And you just have a stripped wire now. And actually, I think I'm gonna strip a little bit more because that looks a little short to wrap around the line. There we go, much better. So you can see, try to get that in focus, about this much in order to have the excess you need to wrap around that copper line, all right? Just gonna do this side. All right, we have our exposed wires. All right, so this is what wraps around the copper up there in order to make the connection. So we're ready to go ahead and install this now. Okay, one thing I almost forgot to do is at this point, you can actually put that plastic nut back in because that will hold the piece in place now that we have it marked. And I almost forgot to do that because it's gonna make life a lot simpler if that line isn't sliding around everywhere. So I wanna make sure I showed that instead of just doing it off camera, even if it's just a quick verbal about it. But let me go ahead and stick that back in because that's gonna keep our line from sliding around everywhere as we try to do the awkward piece of attaching all these wires. Okay, now that that's done, you can actually take this off if you really want, but I'm gonna leave it on just for the sake of it. But you can see now that plastic piece, this line is gonna go sliding out on us. So, when you attach the grounding line, when you screw it in, if you put it clockwise and you go to turn your screw and it's actually gonna kick the wire out. So you wanna go counterclockwise, right? Yeah, counterclockwise, so that when you tighten the screw, make an adjustment, so that when you tighten the screw, it actually pulls the wire in and tightens it up. So that's actually super important when doing this stuff. The same is true when you're actually attaching these. You wanna make sure you're going in the right direction so that when you screw on your wire nut, it doesn't actually kick the wire out. So, you might have to do it a couple times. I know I do, I get it backwards all the time. But just, it is super important what direction you actually put these on in. So, black is live, gray is neutral, this is our ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach the ground. No, let me go ahead and attach a live first. Now the live should be, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up one of my wire nuts. Once one of these is attached, this whole process gets like a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach, wrap this around, and then just stick your wire nut on, and you should feel it just tighten up, and you should be able to let this go. That's how you know you have a good connection too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the neutral. Go ahead and wrap this around. Then from here, bend these up a little bit. And it's the awkward part. Go ahead and wrap your grounding line on with enough slack to still attach it. There we go. Tighten that on. We take our grounding line, Hopefully you're not completely blocked by my hands, but I wrap the grounding line on here, and once again, wire nut. Now, all of our lines are attached. Now, before I do finish this off though, I'm going to actually stick a light bulb in here and make sure it's working before I have to undo everything just to change out one of these lines. As I was saying, I'm not 100% sure which one was live, which one was neutral, so we want to make sure that the light's actually going to turn on before we do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, as you can see, everything's still hanging out, but I just stuck a light bulb in and hell yeah. Okay, so we got it. So you can see now we have a working light, and we can just finish up mounting the piece. So we're just going to tuck all the wires in, push the mount up, put those 2 screws in, and then we'll install the decorative glass. All right, I'm gonna go turn the power back off and show you how to do that. Okay, so now our task is to get all these lights up in here. I'm sorry, all these wires up in here. And this is the part I was talking about. If you don't have enough slack and you try to push them up there, it can be too tight and the wires can slip out. So this is kind of one of the more annoying parts, but this is the task. So we're just gonna go ahead and tuck that in. And guess what? My grounding line popped right off. So, gonna have to go ahead and put that back on. And I think I'm actually gonna use a larger wire nut. I keep saying cap. That's the problem. Not getting it close enough to the end where the nut is catching it, and that's what I need. Oh, much better. So as you can imagine, there was a short little piece and you need them to connect, and one was short, so when I screwed on the nut, this one was just still sliding out. So I got that closer so that I can feel how tight it is in there now. So hopefully when I go to tuck this up in there, I'm not gonna pop back out, which we totally just. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that one took a little doing. I actually had to lower the mounting screws just like the tiniest few turns in order to get enough screw to drop down in order to get these nuts on. So smooth. So that being said, as you can see, we are in fact mounted, right? You can see that, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna finish this up. This is luckily the easy part. We'll wrap this up. Okay, so time for the easy part at least. So this piece right here literally just unscrews. Okay, that's simple. Decorative glass. Hold here. Screw that in until it's tight. Light. And this also, when the glass is on here, this is when your wire will straighten itself out a little better. Jump down off my ladder. And turn the power back on for a big reveal. Okay, 1, 2, 3 lights. Oh, thank God. All right. And there we go. 3 new pendant lights. So easy. So once again, this was another episode of So Easy a Realtor Can Do It. You can tell it really wasn't that hard. A few awkward moments of trying to get the wires on, they pop off, you have to get them back, just look, but that's part of the process, that's how you learn. But honestly, not hard, never felt like I was in danger, never gonna electrocute myself. Power was off, totally safe. Honestly, you can definitely do this. And if you need any advice, give me a call and glad to help you out. Till next time.